am Staff Sergeant, Foreman of Signals, Dave Jarvis, and this video is part of a series of vlogs that I'm doing with the aim of improving and encouraging cycling in the Royal Corps of Signals. Now, if you've watched the last two videos, you'll know that I'm in the process of changing one of my tyres, one of my tubeless tyres, and I'm just using this opportunity to talk you through my process with the aim of giving you a few top tips to help you do yours should you have to in the future. So the first video was all about how I inspect my tyres, things I'll be looking for, something that might ring alarm bells to me, what would prompt me to want to change my tyre, and I showed you an example of that in the first video. The second video was all about getting the dodgy tyre off, and in this video I'm going to talk about putting the new one back on. Now, the first top tip I will give you is be prepared for the fact that tubeless tyres are notoriously difficult to get on and off. Okay, they are physically harder to get on and off because they are a much tighter fit because they need an airtight seal. So be prepared for that. Okay, tyre levers are your friend on this one. Make use of them. Okay, it's possible to do it by hand, but your fingers are going to be raw after doing it. So use tyre levers. Okay, make life easy for yourself. The next one is if you are even slightly unsure about doing it. If you're not confident, if you haven't got the kit, go and see the local bike shop. Okay, they'll no doubt have done these on almost a daily or a weekly basis, depending how popular or busy they are. They will, for the sake of a £20–30 labour charge on top of the cost of a tyre, it's worth it every day of the week for me. I've had about 12 tyres over the time I've been cycling, and of them, maybe 4 of them, I think this including this one, I've done myself. The rest have all gone to the bike shops. It's worth it. Okay, it can be messy if it goes wrong. You need various little bits and pieces you need to consider when doing it. Yeah, it's just that a bit easier. You know, how much is your time worth at the end of the day? Yeah, but if you're happy doing it, if you've got the confidence of doing it, you've got the time, you've got all the bits, you're good to go. Okay, so yeah, make sure you've got all the bits ready on standby. Pay attention to the little things is the next top tip. Every little bit counts in terms of getting that airtight sealant at the end. So take your time, do it right. Okay, when you take the old tyre off, make sure you clean the wheel thoroughly. Give the rim tape a thorough inspection. Make sure it's all in good order. If it is, then leave it on. You don't need to change it every time. But if it's not, then you need to change it. When you take it off, make sure you get some decent glue residue remover, you know, that horrible sticky residue that gets left behind. Get some of the residue, the sticker remover solution, and give it a thorough clean. Now, I double tapped with this. In fact, I should add it at this point as well. Included in that 90 minutes is I also removed those horrible stickers that you might remember seeing on the wheel in the last videos. I've been gagging to do that for ages, so I kind of double tapped. So when I took the old rim tape off, I pretty much doused my wheel in the cleaning solution, so that I could take off all the decals and all the residue and everything. So yeah, so I've got nice shiny looking rims now, and it matches the back wheel finally, which is great. If anyone didn't notice that before, you now do. You now know my back wheel had no stickers on it at all. So I've been riding around with one wheel with and one wheel without, so it's looked a bit odd. But yeah, all done. Anyway, if you have to put the rim tape on, take your time. Okay, make sure it all lines up properly. All right. Yeah, when you're checking for air bubbles afterwards, top tip here, use the tyre lever. Okay, they're pretty much decent shaped to be able to get into the wheel well and into the bead locking points on the inside of the rim as well. So make use of them. Okay, it's the same principle as if you're changing the protective screen on your phone and you use that bit of plastic sheet to work out the air bubble. Same principle. Okay, now that leads me to a good point. As it happens, I have an old wheel. I have had my misfortunes on the bike, as you can see there, that little crack. I've had a couple of little dodgy moments that have resulted in that. So I can use that to my advantage and give you hopefully a little demo of what the wheel actually looks like. So when I talk about the wheel well, I'm talking about, if you look at the cross section of the wheel, that's the deep section going through the centre of the wheel. Okay, when you're putting the tyre on, you need the beading of the tyre, which is, if you look at cross section of the tyre, that's these 2 points here. Yeah, you need that to sit in the wheel well. Okay, all the way around. Okay, hopefully that shows that maybe a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Not the best example, but hopefully that gives you an idea. You need the beading of the tyre to sit in there once you've got the tyre on. Okay. If you like that aesthetic look on your bike tyres. By that I mean you like the manufacturer's name to be lined up with the valve. Do that before you put the beading over the rim, okay? As I said, tubeless tyres fit tighter, okay? So you will not be able to shift it once it's on. Line it up before you put the tyre on, okay? Yeah, one of those little, little things that we like to do as cyclists, little details can't make all the difference. Anyway, yeah, so get the beading inside the wheel well, okay? What you're trying to do is to get it to, once you apply the pressure, you want it to get into these points here. You're trying to force the beading up into this point here. Now, that's where you need the airtight seal, okay? The top tip here is once you've got the beading in place in the wheel well, take the core out of the valve and put in half a load of sealant, okay? I say half load, I'm talking about 1 fluid ounce, give or take. As opposed to the normal load, which would obviously be 2 fluid ounces, depending on your wheel. That will basically help lubricate the beading and help it slot out into place into the locking points. For me, it didn't lock in first time. You'll know when it locks in because you'll hear 2 audible pops. Each one pop for each of the beading, each side. It's not like a gunshot, but it's distinct. Okay, that will tell you it's locked in place. If it's not, or you see bubbling of sealant anywhere around the rim, that's the points really where it's not locked into place. Obviously, another combat indicator that you can use is if you look around the tyre. If you see just there, you can see this line that's going around the wheel rim. Okay, that should be even all the way around. Okay, if it's not sat right. Okay, beading's not sat in place right. So the trick there is to quite literally just knead the tyre, take the air out again, sorry, knead the tyre around those points and just help work it, give it that little bit of flexibility to work into place, okay? When I was at this point, what I did was when I was kneading it, I made sure I could see sealant on the outside of the beading, okay? Reason being is that will help the beading to slip up into the locking point, if that makes sense, once you apply the pressure again. If you can't see it, then it's maybe worth going round with with a little bit of sealant on your fingertips and just rub it against the outside of the beading. I've been told that another option you can use is soapy water. So go around the outside of your tyre with a paintbrush and just paint on soapy water. That'll help do it as well. I've not tried that, but apparently it'll work. I can see the logic. But yeah, once it was at that point that then mine all sat into place. So I applied pressure, having done that, with my typical track pump, I should say. Typical track pump. Applied the pressure. It was a couple of good squirts like, and I then got the pop. And that was it. You will see a little bit of sealant that might ooze out at certain places. It might bubble out a little bit, but that's normal, okay? As it's bedding, you might see little spots here and there, but that's normal. Once you've had the pop, top tip here, make sure you give your wheel a thorough spin. Put it onto your bike. And give it a thorough spin. Get the sealant all the way around it, okay? If you've only put a half load in, like I did, you'll need to top the sealant up again, so don't forget to do that. Be prepared for the fact that the air pressure will drop for the first few days or so. That's normal, okay? Last time I had one of these done, it was maybe for about a week, the pressure would drop after every time I went out on it. So when I came back to it on the next day, I checked the pressure before I went out, and it would usually be about 10 or 20 psi down. Top it back up and just crack on. That's normal, okay? I've even seen sort of little spotting forming around the outside of the tyre as well in the first week or two. Again, that's normal. You need to bed the tyres in, okay? It's simple as that. But yeah, topper's tip is take your time, do it right, or you're gonna end up doing it twice. But if you're in any doubt whatsoever, or you're having problems, go and see the local bike shop, all right? They know what they're doing, they've got all the stuff, and they can do it a damn sight more efficiently. And more importantly is if something goes wrong with it, you can take it back, problem solved, okay? But if you're gonna have a go, take your time, okay? Any questions at all, bang them in the comments. Apologies that I've not been able to demonstrate physically putting it on, but yeah, 90-minute video wouldn't have been too great. If I can, I'll try it in the future, but I will need a bit of practice. As always, if you have any questions, bung them in the comments. Any future topic suggestions, as always, bung them in the comments. Yeah, thank you very much for your time and look forward to the next one.